Welcome to Technical Analysis World. My name is Rocky Outcrop. You've tuned into the right place for your financial morning show. Hope you're all doing very well out there. Good to see you, Bad Mama Jamma. Let's go. Brian in there saying his beer glass is so empty. Well, it's good to see you. Thanks for being a member, and thanks to everybody for tuning in and being a part of the show. If you're viewing this and you're spending time here with us, then you are a star. Hit that like button. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to be taking a look at technical analysis for stocks that you request for us to look at. We'll be taking a look as well and seeing how GME GameStop is getting on after its earnings report last night. We saw post markets that the activity was towards the downside. Prices kicking around the 160s level, having dropped $10. So we'll check and see how that is getting on here as the day's trading will be kicking off fairly soon. We've got about 8 minutes before US markets open. So that's plenty of time to get all of our TA in here. We're going to be doing the show for around about an hour. So hopefully people that tune in later to watch the recorded version get a good, neat, succinct show for them to enjoy. And if that's you yourself and you're tuning in later on watching this recorded, then great to have you here. Welcome to the family. You're a part of the rising tide. The rising tide lifts all ships. That's you. Everybody here is helping each other become a better trader and more financially independent every single day. Good to see everybody. So what we're going to do right this very second, is we're going to do 20 squats. I know it sucks, doesn't it? Yeah, well, we're going to do them anyway. Why? Two reasons. Well, because it's actually a difficult thing to do and it gets the blood going around your body, and it's actually a good, healthy thing to do, makes you more alert. All positive reasons. And the other one is that actually I find it very difficult to do squats, and I'm trying to build up over time, and it's kind of like meeting you halfway, because I know that you are learning technical analysis out there in the world, and it's a difficult thing to do. It requires daily practice, so I'm kind of showing you that I can meet you halfway on that front. Ghost of Dan dropping a $5 super chat in there. Thanks so much for that, Dan. That's appreciated. Let's get these out of the way. It'll take just 1 minute, so we'll be back here doing the show in a minute. Right, are you going to do them with me? Got Tradespotting here, special guest Tradespotting. You're actually going to end up being in squat cam, maybe. Where are you?
I'm over here.
Okay, let's do the squats. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 17, 18, 19, 20. Woo!
Good morning, boys and girls.
No rest for the wicked, no peace for the poor. Well, what are we? Poor? Wait a minute. Kind. Got that phrase wrong. Anyway, welcome to the show. Hi. Hi. So. People have been asking me to get a bigger ticker on the charts. I've done that. Today. This is the GameStop chart. The 1 minute GameStop chart. That's the 1 minute GameStop chart in pre-market. Now you can see it. Current price 166.89. Oh, wait, no, sorry. 166.38. pre-market pricing. The price on the top left or top right of your screen is the normal market pricing, so it's not open at the minute. I bought 1 share and 8 options, thinking of it as crash money maker. Right? Cool. Well, let's hope so. Oh, I'm totally out of breath after those squats. Totally and completely knackered. Which is a good thing. Good morning, Tradespotting. Yay. Good morning, Luke Spears. Good morning, Sarah. Good morning, Lepton. Right, so these will open up soon enough. We'll come back and check on that. Here's MC, Motorcycle Club, I suppose. How's Motorcycle Club getting on? Whatever, we'll skip Motorcycle Club. We'll go to American Motorcycle Club. How's American Motorcycle Club getting on here? We're rolling. We're riding. Yeah, good to see you out there, Sasha. Good to see you, Banana Fridge. Good to see you, Amber. Right, so, yeah, pre-market, this one's down 50 cents. C'est la vie, say the cinema folks. Goes to show you never can tell. What else have we got here? AHT, how's that been getting on? 1075 pre-market was 1087 at close yesterday. This is actually quite a negative looking 1 minute chart, isn't it? Just kind of spread this out a wee bit. 15 minutes. Actually, you know what? Let's just get rid of the extended trading hours off the screen. Markets will open up in 1 minute. Don't need that junk on there. Yeah, so instead though, there's this. This is the AHT question at the minute. What are we going to call this? Should we draw in like Waikiki Beach over here or something like that, and have some sort of surfer going along the top of that wave? It would be nice, wouldn't it? Something like that would be nice. Well, we have targets up above for this one. I would love to see this getting some positivity up here, managing to take out this gap, but we're not there yet. Humanigen, how's it getting on? HGEN 564, 557 pre-market. Seen a lot of things looking like they want to open up down at pre-market here so far, as well. Tesla, Apple, Microsoft. So a little bit of a sort of a buck off here. Got a buck off, 1/3% down, open on the SPY. So we'll just see how things kind of kick off. Hey, Sal. Hey, Kachito. Hey, a Lakeside Trader. I even got a 40-minute walk on already this morning. Wow. 20F crisp morning air. Oof. Freezing cold morning air. Apple paying 275 billion to the CCP was interesting. What was that for? They don't scratch their iPhone screens. Is that it? Yeah. It's like, we'll break into your factory. Aye, well. Oh, they don't want to interrupt their production, so they're paying out the monies. And a lot of monies. Wow, that's a lot of monies. A lot of monies. A lot of monies to be going into things like, oh, Evergrande, it could default because it's not going to pay people 82.7 or 82.75, something like that. Millions these of dollars. Oh, the markets are open now. Let's go check out and see how things are reacting. Apple paying the big bucks, huh? Well, right, sounds. So this was obviously going to open down. We were looking at pre-markets before, so this is of no surprise. We'll go to the 3-minute time frame just so there's a bit more oomph. These candles. Am I coloured all right? I'm wondering if the colour comes across all right on the screens for you all. Is my face a good colour enough? Whatever, doesn't matter. I'm here. Morning, Dirty Jers. Good morning. Sarah says that her brother says that she can practice by sitting on a bench and standing up. Squeeze those cheeks. Well, there you go. You can do that. Good squat posture is not as simple as I thought. I lean too far forward. Yes, I try to keep my back straight. It's hard, it's hard. It's very hard. You've seen my progress, though. You saw what it was like when I started, and you see what it's like now. 6 months' time, you'll be able to see what it's like. Oh, right, great. 170. Excellent. So this is kind of what we suspected would happen. Did I say this is what would happen? I was thinking this is what would happen. I think that's what we were thinking. I look a bit red. Yeah, I think I do as well myself, to be honest. So, ooh. What can you do, eh? I have too many sunbeds. That's what it is. Too many sunbeds. We'll figure out the colours some other time. 169. Oh, well, you know, we're hoping to see this continue. Nice positive volume and to go along with this bias all the way back up markets and take us towards the top side. People, anybody that's willing anybody that's selling into this gap at the minute is finding willing buyers. Nice big volume candle. It's only, obviously, just the first few minutes of the day, right? We've only just started. What we want to see is some sort of form of continuation with this volume here as we come up to approach the top end of this gap. Bearing in mind, by the way, that this gap that we've got at the minute is actually a gap fill. You know, we've been filling in the prior gap with where we are now. So we were talking yesterday about as to whether or not a gap fill during the earnings stream, whether or not a gap in pre and post market extended hours gap getting filled has got that significance that you're looking for, and saying essentially no. That you want to see it happen during the actual markets, and well, here we are now having that happen during actual markets, and I think that in a sense goes quite a distance towards answering that question for somebody just 12 hours later or so. Can we make a green Rocky Outcrop, Tom? Lol. Wait, I'm red today. That Rocky Outcrop glow, yes, lava. Yo, Rocky, trying to get a hang of the arrow flash indicator. Does the green flash indicate the price should rise to at least that level? Says the Ghost of Dan. Right. So we had we've got a couple of flashes just here. Oh gosh, wouldn't be a Rocky Outcrop show if I didn't try to move the charts at least once and end up drawing all over them by accident. Right. So we've got these two examples of the doodah here. This is blue on mine. I'm going to say that you're calling this green. This one would indicate that the prices should go back up to this level. That's right, at least, and likewise with this one towards the downside. Now, as you can see here, just zoom on in here. Whee! As you can see here, the prices came in, and it was for a few candles here, we got a little bit of kind of inflection, decision making. What's going to happen here? What's going to happen here? Right at that level, which of course had come from this bar. Now, looking at these candles on the way down, to say that it would be specifically at that area, this area where that hesitation would come in at, versus this particular section where it's all exactly the same all the way down. It's quite cool to see, that clearly that was one of those little areas for us. And that's, anyway, that's where the prices were going. And then they continued up, back down. We got inflection across here a few times. And as it happens, then this little zone became the next area where the next one was. And we did see the prices coming back down to that. So you can see there's big examples of this on big time frames and big, distance away. Here's one over here on AMC, which is looks scary. So let's look at this one first, and I'll just show you as this is now turned green on the day here as well for us. So this is good to see. I'll just bring that up in a second. But see this big old flash down here? You can see in the past there's a big old flash towards the top side at $11. The price is eventually going down towards $2. Could they make it 500% up towards the top side to fill in that flash? Well, ultimately they did, and this was in this inflection zone in the January area. So, super handy. What do we notice as well? That it lines up really nicely with this next one that's coming up. Now, will we go down there to $10 to see this price on AMC? And I think, ultimately that we will, but whether or not we have a big short squeeze before or not remains to be seen. And how can you talk in such positive terms when there's such a negative signal on the charts there, Rocky? Well, I can show you that there's been this one on Bitcoin, and this one on Bitcoin has been on here since April 23rd of April 2020. And it says that the prices could drop down to 7,125. Now, equally big bear market target for us here on the old Bitcoin would be looking towards that 7125 area, definitely. But as you can see, in the meantime, Bitcoin's gone up towards $70,000, you know. So if we just did back over to AMC, would it be conceivable, it's just simple numbers, for this thing to go, if this is the target, to 11, could it go up to $110 and then back down to 11 and lose 90% of that value, for example? Could that happen? Absolutely, very, very easily could, without any real need to go back to that area beforehand. So yes, to answer your question, Dan. Right, so there's another question here. There is a flash on the 1 minute in the mid 170s, for instance. So jumping over to the 1 minute, in this button so you can see it. There's a flash up there in the 170s, but that one was filled in already. So what happens is the prices return to that zone, and it kind of released the steam on that pressure cooker there. Right there, you can see this is one of these examples of the indicator being like, you know, yet again, there's prices moving down here. Why, you know, this shows us that the prices had to come to this area again, you know, for more or less no other reason than the reasons that determine this indicator. Like, there's not really any other reason why this would happen. And in order to do this, obviously, you're putting in this great big deal of volatility. Anyway, yeah, that's happened already. So if we just jump up a couple of different time frames, we'll find some other ones. When Ambo outside. So you know, here's an example of a flash over there at 169, which needed to get filled in and hadn't been filled in yet. Now, they don't always extend the whole way across the way this thing's programmed currently and whatever, because you'll get instances where it kind of where you know, otherwise they'd be overlapping, etc. It's just, you know, it becomes a mess, etc. But when another flash comes in, it does decrease the chances of you, or whenever the thing gets interrupted, it decreases the chances of you going there immediately. So what we saw happening here with this one is that the prices went up, came down. We didn't actually, you know, the flash was halted. We didn't actually come down immediately. We went up again, you know, really kind of trying around this area for a bit, and then came in and filled this. And this is a 2 minute time frame. Then we filled in this flash. There's another one over there in the 2 minute time frame. You know, the prices jumped up to that point in that period of time just to fill in the flash, nothing else happening, then moved on. So you can see this is like an extremely powerful thing, but that's done there at the 2 minutes. And the question really for you, Dan, is, are there any that are left down below us that are scary looking that we need to do now, or, you know, or not? And we have done that one and filled in that gap that we needed to fill in so far there. So let's just continue the hunt. You and I, Dan, I'll call you Artemis. You can be the hunter, Artemis. I'll be the painter, and let's do this together. Where's the next one at on this one then, Artemis, my friend? Up here, I see, towards $212. This is the 3 minute time frame. We'll just keep an eye out and see if any other ones jump around on us for us. So like, we've got a target, and we know that these things tend to get done, right? They do tend to get done. So we've got score 1 to Team Bull at the minute. Artemis, what's next for us, right? So we've got one up here. This did get done, and this got done. Now, let's just also bear in mind a couple of things. I'll just jump down to the 2 minute time frame to point this out again. When it comes to these ones that don't get filled in immediately, so where is it? Here's this one. It didn't get filled in immediately. They tend to get multiple touches, you know, after. So there's examples of ones where it got filled in and the prices just jumped up to it and then away, and it didn't need to go back there again. It happened immediately. Then there's examples like this here where the prices didn't just jump to it straight away. In fact, they moved away from it. The flash got interrupted. Under these circumstances, you're probably going to visit it 4 times, you know? So anyway, once down to it, up and down again. We've done it a couple of times, you know, in it around this area. Now we're going to have a bit of inflection, a little bit of consolidation, thinking about things. Time to take on some extra fuel into the rocket ship. So jumping back up to the 3 minute time frame, Artemis, you and I, hand in hand, here we go. Let's do this, keep going together. Was it 3 minute time frame we were on last, Artemis, pal? Up here, it's 212.50, right? You've got that target, so it's not being hit. So when we do come up there, quite liable that we get that as a point of inflection, right? Hit that once, twice, 3 times, 4 times perhaps even before moving on in another direction. But we don't have anything down below unless we've got our aiming wrong. Just looking and keeping it going as it happens. There was this one over here at 171.50. Was it filled in right away? No, it wasn't. Will we visit it 3 or 4 times? You know, potentially. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we've kind of done enough now on that one, so that's good to have kind of cleared that out. So there's the downside. If we'd only hit this through this once or twice, maybe we'd be back again, but we've done enough now, so that's positive. And there's that. Let's go to the 5-minute time frame. So here we can see there was this one hit. It wasn't filled in right away, but we did get a few revisits to it again. So there was this one. It wasn't filled in right away. If we go on, am I being blind? Yeah, I am. Sorry. There was this one. It wasn't filled in right away, but once, twice, 3 times. You know, if we come back up here, we'll be going through it again, 4th, 5th time, whatever. Got that one thoroughly satisfied. Again, this is the other point up above where we're talking about how we might have to come in up there a few times at the 112-ish area or so, inflecting around there. 15-minute time frame. I hope you're still spying for the bears, for those bearish ones, Artemis. I'm looking up the way. There's nothing really here up the way, you know. All there was these previous ones here, and they were all filled in without too much, you know, having to piss about looking for it again and again. This is a nice, pretty example of them, you know, just like, why did we come back to this point here? Why specifically to this point here? Well, I can tell you that I've got one reason for it, and it's then expressed quite beautifully in this indicator, and that there aren't really any other reasons for it at all that I can really find. Anyway, here you have it. And that's done there as well. So, you know, just in terms of these smaller term time frames, we seem to be doing okay. Let's just flick through, jumping at us there on that front. 1 hour time frame. What have we got here? Nothing that's, you know, jumping at us, certainly. Anyway, oh, that's probably because they didn't give them a chance to load in actually on the previous one, but anyway, that's that. Then let's go to the 4 hour time frame. Okay, so we're good here as well. So that's the latest situation. Here's the 24-hour time frame. We can see if there's any of the crazy ones down below, like we had on AMC, and as you can see, there isn't, which is, you know, extremely healthy from the point of view of long-term health on this one, you know, in terms of have any obvious, definite, you know, concrete shoes on in that sense. Here's the weekly time frame, and it's, you know, it's harder to get these on the weekly time frame, obviously, as you can imagine. You know, you require a bunch of weeks, but there we have it. So in terms of where we're looking, Artemis, we're hunting towards the top side right now. We're bull hunting, Artemis. Bull hunting rather than bear hunting today. Cool, excellent. Hope that works for you all. Get access to the Rocky Outcrop flash indicator. Do that indeed. Thanks so much. And by the way, for anybody who's wondering, Artemis. Rightio, great, sweet. So there you have it. Artemis, Greek, is the Greek goddess of the hunt. There we go. So that's a bit of fun for everybody. Right, cool. So I mean, right, we're done on GME. Okay, we can go back to looking at it. If there's anybody that's look at anything in particular, that was a request that just came in from Artemis Dan, who was who's hunting for flashes. There, 171.50 was an epic flash. Says Koki. Thank you so much for that. I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that as a compliment to me. Hope we are all going great. Says KP. Hope you're doing good too, buddy. Thank you, Rocky. I'm a professional BS hunter as it is. Aha, cool. Thanks, man. Right, so let's just jump on over to see how the American Motorcycle Club is getting on here. And we're doing. Oh, look, this is doing great on the weekly. Great, nice green candle so far, going well this week. Yeah, let's just ignore this red area down below for now. Like I was saying, with the old, like we do on Bitcoin, it's all good. If that's painful in the eyes, let's jump to the 4 hour time frame. Perfect. Right, inverted head and shoulder potential, obviously not very nice and looking there on the 4 hour time frame. Must be on a smaller time frame. And have we done enough here with this move? Well, I suspect, you know, in a sense we have. Let's just kind of jump down to the 15-minute time frame and see how that really panned out for us since yesterday. We did actually come up towards where I drew in this line, $33. So beautiful. That's a lovely move all the way from the 25s up to the 33. The range that we were looking at on this one, $30 down to 25 though, leaves a couple of bucks shy of the measured move, as you can see here with the white stick showing that we could be going up towards the $35, $36 region. So what we're asking then in this phase is, what's the health of this chunk just here? What's the health of this chunk just here? If I could just like make this easier for folk, what we're asking at the minute is what's the health of this chunk just there, right? This is what we're asking about. We're asking about this chunk just here. Okay, that's what we want to be investigating just for now. So just we just check and see I did actually have the low here marked out. I'll keep that red candle on, so I've got the low, and try and just kind of look at this section in isolation. And then afterwards, and this is how you would be thinking about your technical analysis yourself. Probably you have to kind of visualize these things inside your own brain. I'm sure you're capable of doing it, because you're a human being and I'm a human being too, so you can say I believe in you in that front. So you don't really need to cover up the thingy, but we'll cover it up here for demonstration purposes. Drawing in a Fibonacci from that low to the high. So the low I drew it in from was the low of that red candle up to the high just over there, and we can see that we're above the 236 during this phase of consolidation right here. So this phase of consolidation right here is happening above the 236, which is very, very good, right? Very, very good. Now it's actually afforded us the this quite a healthy movement towards the downside. It's afforded us this movement towards the downside during this phase, and during this phase as well, we were kind of afforded this area of consolidation, which was kind of slightly down, slightly kind of sideways, and then as well we had this kind of this high to low kind of phase in the markets here. So making a quick comparison between these areas, what that structure's allowed us to do with these movements towards the downside that we had was actually come in here with nice retraces on the RSI, as you can see, which means that we overall have been able to do that without any bearish divergence. Way brilliant. So if you think back to how I was just talking about that as I went through it, there's a couple of key insights there for the eagle-eared among you as to how you'd be thinking about divergences and how they might show up, and what would be considered to be organic healthy movement. Now, what would this then satisfy and or represent this low just here in terms of movements towards the top side? Let's kind of do a health check on this. Was this or this divergent from each other? And we can see that they clearly weren't. We've kind of covered that already. So we know at this point here is not representing a swing failure should we take it out. We've come in for this low over here, which is obviously lower though than this previous low. So we've got a downward moving period here in the RSI, while on the price action here itself, we've actually had a nice higher low in comparison to these 2 points just here. So what we're left with as a result of that is, of course, hidden bullish divergence. And then back over to the charts again, just to reflect on what we're talking about. This period of price action towards the top side has been fairly healthy. We've been afforded nice corrections during the movement towards the top side, and it's given us this overall shape towards the with the movement. Now, you could make cases to say that it is a broadening channel of some sort. I'm just going to say that it's a parallel channel, and that we're operating from this phase here. Now, measuring from the low up, that was what you could consider to be the initial impulse movement up the way as well, and gives you a good degree of an idea of price elasticity should we get a movement towards the downside. Looking at this region over here and realizing where the inflection would come in at if we were looking for a bounce and we pulled outside of this region right now, bearing in mind the price elasticity on the way up to this region and where that would take us down to, where the 618 is as well, and what an overall healthy correction would look like. This is a 15-minute time frame, don't forget, a 15-minute time frame. So if we were to move up to a higher time frame, then this would be amortized into fewer candles and give us the impression of having just had a nice near parabolic move towards the top side, which could afford a healthy correction down to any of these areas for a higher low. So we can bear that in mind, knowing the overall kind of not just the trend and the direction and whatever else in terms of this area. Purely looking at this area alone, remember I've covered this up for good reason, purely looking at this area alone, that we would be able to bear in mind, like, not just the trend, etc., but of course the elasticity of the movements themselves, and where then we'd be liable to go to stay within the bounds of market structure from just purely a supply and demand economic point of view. That's what we're looking at right here. So next movements towards the top side, what do we think that they could be then? And we're looking obviously up towards towards. And lo and behold, it's not going to be especially magic number because, of course, we did start off by mentioning it, and it is $35 would be the next target towards the top side. So that's where we are right now, with the easy enough to bear in mind risk management pivot points here coming in at the $31 zone. Because if we were to have what would be an overall healthy correction on a larger time frame without actually changing anything to do with the overall structure from a larger point of view, that's where we would go to and find a bounce at that region. That's what we're looking to. Obviously continuing up towards the top side and cracking through the 35 region gives us, and 35 to say 36 gives us the ability to say that perhaps we're moving into an area where we really need to consider what's behind this blue feckin' box over here. Now as well, if we do actually push down past this blue zone, etc., we'd be looking still towards our prior low and saying, well, hey, look, this is ultimately could be a higher low, etc. But if we did take this out, then we'd need to look and see what's behind this blue feckin' box over here, right? But ultimately, we're able to operate off the back of this for everything that we're doing on those basis C's, right? And you can see that that's obviously the case because your intraday trading would probably operate along these sorts of lines, having some sort of indicator. Let's say, what do we want it to be? Something like, say, Bollinger Band, right? And on your, say, perhaps you're trading down there, you looking at something like the 1 minute time frame, and you've got the Bollinger Bands showing us where we're going. We've got the overall trend laid out with this parallel channel. We know the regions that we could trend between, and if we're moving into the top side of the Bollinger Band, then where we could be going. So looking between, if we've identified our range on the 15-minute highs and lows, and we just say this is the sort of the highs areas and this is the sort of the lows areas here, the lows areas here, and we know that we could be trending between either of those 2 points on a small time frame during a daily period, for example, with a view to continuing this overall trend. What we're looking on this indicator for is obviously to be in the top half of it. So you can see in the Bollinger Bands here, all in the top half of the Bollinger Bands throughout the low to the high. Down then here from the high to the low, in the lower end of the Bollinger Bands. Now, while we do obviously go into the top area a few times here and try, that's healthy to see, given that we want the overall dynamic shift of this thing to be towards the top side. You can see that during the trend, you get in when the movements are with the trend, it's all inside the top end of it, all inside the top end of it. Movements against the trend, we're getting inflection going between the two of them. Great, fantastic, what amazing insights, Rocky. I know the value here is hitherto unknown on the land of YouTube. That's why we've got this called Technical Analysis World TM copyright today as the episode title. Please do hit a like button. Pardon me? Indeed, we're going to look at Evergrande at some point, but I don't know what you're whispering about, Jimmy. You're going to have to tell me a bit more details. See, over here as well, we've got this nice movement towards the top side. What's it you want to talk about in Evergrande's front? Right, cool. Okay, we'll go and take a look at Evergrande in a wee bit. So this here, again, moving towards the top side, inside this Bollinger Band period, staying inside this, going with the trend, against the trend, moving between the two areas within the Bollinger Band. So now what we've done at this stage with regards to AMC, by the way, is we've laid out the exact detail and given you a strategy on how to trade it. Whoa, you slipped in a strategy amongst all that technical analysis, Rocky Outcrop. Did you really? Yes. Yes, outcropticians, I did. So there's one example of it. Now, what if that just seems a bit too messy on your old eyeballs? So how about we just take away the whole Bollinger Band aspect of it, and we don't theorize about those things, and instead we just pop up something like the moving averages instead. You know, just like kind of keep things nice and simple. What are we seeing with regards to these moving averages? Well, you can see that the prices are, well, because of you've got a good, a firm handle of what the drawings are like. I'll just hide them. You can see that while the prices are above the yellow moving average, that they tend to be pushing up the way, breaking down below the yellow one, you've got a good chance of getting a bounce off of the green and continuing. But if you break the green, then you could of course go for a correction. So that's what we've seen here, up above the green, up above the yellow. Whoa, lovely. Break down below the yellow, we could come towards the green, but it's again down below the green and the yellow at the same time. They cross down the way, moving and following that down. That's all great. We've already analyzed this to death in terms of the upward movement. So what are we missing here in terms of the what were we missing? Was a couple of things, right? We'll come across. We'll mention these things here as we get back to the when we got the drawings back on screen again. As you can see, that will be nice. You know, we can talk about that when the time comes. But what we can say is that when we're looking for this thing to turn around, we're obviously looking for the prices to go up above the yellow line, and then to sustain movements above the yellow line, get above the green line, and then you'll see the green and the yellow line crossing, and then we're definitely moving. You would say, you know, not definitely, but there's no definites in life. But we're then at that point almost certainly moving towards the top end of this zone, which we've already laid out. So you've already got a strategy built in here, and this is, you know, an easy, simple, easy to follow strategy. You got your cross, you got your retest, you got your move. You got your cross, you got your retest, you got your move. You got your cross, you got your retest, you got your move. And it's just simple as that, following it along the way to the top side. Now, what was that thing that was hidden there that you're going to mention, Rocky? Well, of course, it's these flashes, right? So we got this flash. This one was filled in, not immediately, did get 2 touches by moving down and back up through it again. This would obviously get more touches if we came in to fill in this lower one, obviously. So what is this region then here? Well, it's coming in, let's just see the number on it, around about $28. Pop the drawings back on, and you can see the $28 area is just into this liquidity zone, right where the 618 golden pocket is at the at $28. Now the top end of it, where's that? Well, that's just at 28.74, and that would obviously be coming back out again. So if we did drop down, then I think that it'd be fair to say that we could see a movement something like this if we were to. And to round that off the way, then that brings us back perfectly to understanding exactly where we were there with regards to all of these movements. Now managing our risk at 31 for that potential move to 28 to get the 10% push towards the top side. 35 there. Oh, brilliant. This is absolutely 3-star Michelin chef technical analysis over here. There's no comparison with anything else in the world, literally, even at the very top investment banks and hedge funds out there in the world. Shout out to Artemis again. So by the way, what do we have towards the left then? We've done all of that. We have a flash up here towards $37. $37 is quite clear that that's an area that prices would like to go to again. That gives us our top end of this. If we get enthusiastic about things and we move up towards the top, where could we see this happening at? $37, perhaps a very good profit taking point for people who are trading this thing. Then moving up and beyond that, when would we see a change in conditions? Well, if we actually move maybe up to the 113, up above this area, then we might have seen a change in conditions in terms of this macro structure. Well, that macro means the 1 minute time frame, but if this was a daily time frame, you'd be looking at like years of price action here. So the 1 minute time frame, yeah, this macro picture, so to speak. If we move up towards $39, then that's what you're looking at there. You can kind of measure this out as well, by the way, using Fibonacci and just drawing it in with the 113. If I just borrow the number 2 here to use that for it. Seems I'm always changing these. I do have defaults saved and everything else, but it seems to me that the workflow is easier for me if I just actually add it on again. There you go. There's the 113 in there at $39, you know, kind of as predicted, so to speak. So that's what we'd be looking to if we were to actually, you know, push up beyond this area. That could be the larger fake out move towards the top side, which then results in a retest back down the way towards the $28 at that point. If you were ultra curious and you thought to yourself, this alchemy can go no further, you're right. At this stage, you're more or less right. But if you wanted to get purely speculative about this idea, then, you know, where exactly would you be looking to sustain price action above if you were to not drop back down the way afterwards? It'd be $35. That would be your then cut-off point again. That lines up with the top there, as you would imagine it would do. And then the 50% Fibonacci retracement point then there at 31.64, I think lines up perfectly with the areas that we've already identified in terms of how you would manage your risks. So just to kind of outline for people that if all of this happened, it would still be within the exact tolerances of everything we'd already analyzed up to this point, and that you wouldn't need to change your trading strategy in order to maximize your profits, even if we did move up to that zone. It's when we move beyond that zone that your trading, you would need to take account of it. So I've actually really comprehensively covered every single aspect of what there is on this thing right here, right now. There could be plenty more things that you'd want to look at. For example, you've got these oscillators that I didn't touch on too much beyond the RSI at one point. during it, but you know, that's for I don't know what PhD level, sort of doctorate level technical analysis at that point. So anyway, there we have it. What did you think of that? Let me know, and if there's anything else that you want to take a look at. Did you mind looking at SHS? Says Bulldog. Would love to. It's so good to see you, Amanda, as ever. Why is my browser in the wrong place? What's going on here? Yes, there we go. SHS. SHS. What is it? Wait a minute. Did you say SHS? SHS. Are you talking about? I mean, what are you talking about? You're talking about Saigon-Hanoi Secur. Right. I'm going to assume that you're talking about Saigon-Hanoi Secur, right? For just now. This is an interesting chart for sure. On this 1 minute time frame, we've got one of these flashes towards the top side and to the downside. Just going to keep my eye out there for that though, Bulldog, to see if this is exactly what you were looking for. Have a quick look here and see there's not a cryptocurrency called that, right? Okay, no. So this is one of the most unusual stock requests I've ever had on the show, apart from maybe a dozen or so over time, which I've then gone back to the chat and realized that they didn't ask for that in the first place. I'm like, oh right, okay, and that makes more sense than the last 15 minutes. It is way cool, Amanda. You're looking at a Chinese stock called Saigon-Hanoi Secur. Feckin' hell. Nice one, Amanda. I love to see. I love to see you branching out there into the rest of the world. Right. Start off. Let's just do this broad term picture. Right. We know that there's shit going down in China. Okay. Saigon-Hanoi Secur. SECUR. French spelling of secure makes me think that they're a finance company. Just a second here. SHS. Yahoo Finance. Let's just have a quick look here. So where is the SHS? Is it 41,000? This is SYD. Where is the what is this actually? Wait, like I want to find out a bit more about this just before we dive into it. Saigon-Hanoi Secur. Spelt that wrong. Can't find out much about it. Who cares? Right, great. Anyway, we're on the go. So anyway, I said China. It's obviously Vietnam. I don't know why I got that wrong. If I got that wrong, I'm sure I just said the word China. This is Vietnam. So people be interested in Vietnam these days, I guess. We'd had people asking about the dong. That was the most unusual currency pairing forex request I'd ever had. Maybe this is somewhat related. You can see the 236 is in here at 24,468 of whatever these I guess dongs, right? So you'd have to pay 24,468 dongs to get your hands on one of these if it drops down to the 236. It's currently up at 56,000. So we're looking at a range here on this potential. This is the longer term look of this thing. This is the weekly time frame, by the way, and this is drawn in from a low down in 2016. 2016. So this is no, sorry, from a low in 2012. So this is, long term looking at things. So so long as we're above that sort of 50% region of the absolute value drop off in the price of this thing, we're doing really well, really strong upward trend. However, there is a couple of things to note. This diminish in volume here, kind of notable, right? At this point, we're in all-time highs though, so that would be understandable as people kind of figure things out. Just look at a very broad term perspective of this one. This has managed to kind of actually throw off a bit of the bearish divergence we had before. That was obviously going to impact on it, so that's interesting. Let's drop down to the daily time frame. So this has got it has got that conflicting picture there, with occasional kind of this here kind of being a bit out of the norm, and likewise this one down here being a bit out of the norm, as you can kind of see on those two. So it's got little bits of modes where if we it's self-flagellistic, this price action, in a way, right? So if at times whenever it pushes just a little bit too much, then we'll get just a little bit too much at the downside, just to kind of say, well, it's like working on the clock or whatever. It's like I came in 10 minutes early, so I'm leaving. Well, whatever. I don't know, whatever. I don't know what type of analogy I'm making there. That one failed, but you get the point, I think, probably, in that sense that we're getting a little bit sort of two wrongs make a right in that sense on the stock. So we'll just have to be kind of a bit more careful, I suppose, in those extreme areas, because it's hard to know. It'll be harder to know when this thing's necessarily turning around, if it does. at that on that sense. This is your kind of your channel for now. There's discrepancies that I'm talking about there, so we'll just be bearing in mind at any given time the kind of the horizontals on it. So the ones that we're currently to be looking at would be just pushing a little bit further, like pushing down to here is okay. Pushing really any further beyond that is not really. You'd be looking for a 236 test. These are serious number changes, by the way, because that goes from 51 down to 38, where you'd be then saying, okay, well, I don't want to be in it much beyond that, because then you're looking down to 32 thereafter. So this is like, that's another 20% movement towards the downside. It's obviously be painful having already experienced that massive move. So like, you know, this is really broad. The numbers here, by the way, reflect closer to things like Bitcoin at the minute. So I guess this is like got a intense speculative value on it, and not necessarily based so much on sort of fundamentals. And that the way that this is working, especially since this has probably got some sort of meme element to it. No judgment on that front. So 4-hour time frame then, just kind of, so we've got the broader picture in line. We kind of know that there's a degree of at times this thing pushing outside of its normal realms. We didn't do that recently, right? So we didn't go like additionally high there. So I would hope to not see it go additionally low towards the downside, because we don't need to. We've had on the 24 time frame, we have pushed into the bearish control zone just a little there, flirting with this idea, but undoing it very, very rapidly again, back up against the neutral line. At the meantime, we were also at the median line of the base of this parallel channel. So so this is not really going to be a low. If we come back down to this zone again, this is probably not going to be a low to look to. This is just one of those inflection points that don't really guarantee a success if you were to come back down to visit them again. Similarly, this sort of thing, this wasn't really a low. This was the low and this was the high, and this is the point, kind of the point in the parallel channel. That's the lows, those are the highs, and these bits in the middle, they're not reliable. So here we are at a middle one, and if we're going to consider this to be a low, it's not reliable, Amanda. That's not a reliable low. This here is not a reliable low. Okay, like that is not. You would be going down to 42 if you push down to 46 again, right? Like that's another 10%, which is just there waiting to happen, or you know, which people will want, you know, bigger people than you or I. So that's not to be trusted. Okay, I mean, obviously it could work, but it's the trust factor there is low, right? It's very low. Now, so yeah, right. So we're building up even more of a picture here on this one as we go, which is nice. We're right at the neutral line of this thing right now. So am I thinking so much that there's much value in measuring down the way in terms of this? Well, not really, because in terms of, give me this high, give me that high. There we go, down to here to the low. Not really in terms of where we are right now, but it's worth pointing out this is the 618, and this would be the failure point on this one. So quite likely, you know, this would be the failure point that we're at here now. With this, if we were to actually decide to go down towards the downside. Now this would then set us up with the potential to be in a downward trend zone, where, you know, like looking at this, it's you see here, right, we came down and we went up. Okay, we didn't actually go up and then down again, right? We didn't do that, and then we went down and then up, and we did come down again, but we didn't do it a couple of times. Then we went up, then we came down, and we did go up again. And there's the question, but we didn't do it a couple of times. We just kept trending towards the top side. Fine, totally, that's continuation, that's follow through, it's what you're looking for. But then there's the other half of that conversation, is, but then we did it again, right? You know, so you see what I'm saying? If you do go lower and it comes down here and it starts trending this way, it's a change in conditions. What you're going to start to see is the price action kind of consolidating and perhaps moving outside of this zone and asking us questions about what's going on here. So that's how you would have to look at that. This could be like the start of that here in terms of this time frame, with it moving back down towards that, which it didn't do last time. So that's just, you know, looking at this point here and saying, would there be any hesitation in here? Would there be anything like that? Well, there's three reasons right there for why there could be, I think. You can follow that up with also saying like there could be hesitation in here because, well, you know, we had the negative cross already on the DMI while the ADX was above 25. We didn't have it the last couple of crosses here. We didn't have it the last couple, you know, so it's like during this upward trend and move, it's been a while since we've actually had a negative cross where the ADX was above 25. You can see that. So this here's got a lot of those factors are coming in at this point in this upward move, which has been on since December 2020 for the last year. A lot of these factors that are bearish in here, being the bearish ideas, weren't there before. But we're going to continue to look for continuation. We're going to continue to look for more upside, and that's what we're looking for. I'm going to follow this trend because it is what it is until it is what it isn't, and frankly, it's an uptrend. So we're going to keep with that idea, but we're going to bear in mind that there is this potential for a correction here at some point. So then if we were to look for a correction, where would remain bullish? That would be the next question. If we actually did push outside of this thing, I suppose that I could answer, and I have answered that earlier on in terms of anything down as low as 24,000, and bearing in mind that's a 50% loss in the market cap of this thing. That's extreme, right? Extreme. But this is because we've had parabolic movement. So, you know, if we did drop down that far, it's actually fairly liable that you see an 80% drop off in terms of the prices. So I'll just take out a ruler and show you in terms of like highs down to 80%, means you'd be coming down for a Dow Theory retracement down here at this price point at 9,850k or so, or 9,850 dongs or so. And here would be like, you know, where the break could take you to if you were to move towards the downside. If you were to move towards the top side as well, right here and now in terms of upper side targets, this in terms of, and we spoke about this before on the previous chart on AMC, where I talked about how it could move outside and there would be, and your trading conditions would still remain the same. Well, the area to look to on that one is actually 65,804. Just bearing in mind that if we did push up towards that zone and came back down, that would be that story I was talking about where we pushed outside of this, and we could be looking for that more extreme movement towards the downside, then perhaps catching our 30s something or rather target in there. So I would imagine with that type of a movement. Okay, so be looking out for these sorts of things on this one. Now I've carried you all the way from the weekly time frame to the daily to the 4 hour and expressed mostly all of the movements that could potentially happen with this one, Amanda, but I'm sure you're still probably thinking to yourself to an extent, you know, here, what do I do here and now? Now again, just to remind everybody, I'm not a financial advisor. We're here to do this sort of stuff together to as the rising tide to help lift and educate everybody. So this technical analysis is kind of meant to be educational for everybody, and I hope there's a lot of value there for everybody at the minute. Let's just bear in mind a few things then. 618 golden pocket, we're hitting off the 50 simple moving average on the 1 hour time frame, and the 200 simple moving average is down there at that lower wick. What we're talking about here is understanding the implications of this area. Okay, this is what we've been talking about for the last wee while, the implications of this area. If we're actually to find that the prices were to drop down, and you know, what could happen, and what would happen if we were to find that they're to push past this region. We've kind of actually covered that already. So what you're doing at the meantime is looking at anything in this region and asking how it will determine what you do. So if you're looking to buy back in, or if you're looking to take profits, etc., you're going to be able to find some answer in there, find some answer in there for how you approach it. If you wanted to, for example, in terms of low term time frames, you could think to yourself that you would take profit if you drop down below the 236, which is in there at 49,619. But you could also think about it the same way in terms of the median line of the parallel channel. You could also think about it in the same ways of if we came back down to this little inflection zone just here, then you're thinking to yourself, well, this was very weak and this was weak. This is just, this is easy, could easily trend down the way at this point, etc., etc. So you could be then looking to manage your risk like that. Within this range, there is a potential movement from that high to that low of 15%. It's nothing to be sniffed at, in terms of trading in this zone, as it were, just now. Beyond this, if you wanted to look at it because you still maybe potentially, and not talking about you, Amanda, I know that you're totally fine out there and all that, but just in terms of that imaginary random person who still exists in the world who thinks cheapers, creepers, that's still just not enough, even though this is perhaps the most comprehensive technical analysis you've seen on any asset without, other than what I just did on AMC and the other stuff that I do on the channel in quite some time, especially given I've never looked at this thing in my life before. so what do you what could we do? Well, here's another thing that we could do. I'll just stick on the Ichimoku Cloud just here and kind of and hide everything else and say, and even hide the moving averages as well, and say, how about you just kind of take your shoes off, let your hair down, relax, and forget I mentioned anything that I'd mentioned before. And instead I just said to you, hey, look, things tend to be what they are until they aren't. You know, it is what it is until it is what it isn't. And what we're going to do here is going to assume that this overall upward trend will continue. We'll look at it using the Ichimoku Cloud. We know that there's profit taking coming in here right now, that we don't want to be in this while it's actually, you know, hitting off the cloud or whatever. If we push beyond the cloud and we get a retest of the cloud again thereafter and see a cross of this thing, then we can absolutely continue to trend towards the top side. We don't even need to necessarily have that cross, but, you know, just the idea of, like, if you're looking at this as a movement beyond the cloud and then coming back in to retest it and then moving on again, we could do that just as we did in the past, and that might be the next time that you go long on the thing. If you're looking at it in terms of, like, will we actually have a period of downward movement? What if we move down below the cloud and fail to go above it, and come down and fail to go above it again the next time? So on that front, Amanda, and to the rest of the world trading this thing, or anybody who's just looking at trading, how you can reconcile small term time frame strategies with larger term time frame strategies and everything else would be to include all of the information which I'm inviting you to ignore in your analysis as you look at this right here, because you know the upper and lower bounds of this thing and how it could move. Well, here you have it hitting off the cloud. It's up to you how you think about this thing right here, but it's clear that people would have been planning to have taken profit out there for a whole number of reasons before this ever even made its way onto the chart. And you can see it right there, as clear as day. Then if we were to put, you know, fail, come down here and fail to push past the cloud again, you could strategize off the back of that. If you're looking to move above it, you could strategize off the back of that. And to put this into the context of its overall time, if we were to fail to push down below it on the bigger 4-hour time frame, you could strategize off the back of that. And if we were then to get continuation above, you strategize off the back of that. And as you can see, this is clearly how this has worked during this period of time inside the overall analysis that we've got. That's the complete picture right there right now. And if there's anything left in there as to regards to what could possibly be expressed by anybody, then they're going beyond and out with the scope of what's required in order to conduct yourself in markets. There is a degree at which you can say to yourself that too much information is available to people. You don't need to go into any more depth and detail on any of this sort of stuff. Suffice it to say that if you are looking for one major obvious thing on here, you've got hidden bullish divergence on this recent low, and that would be nice to see us getting that follow through. And as a trader, it is what it is until it is what it isn't. That's your Saigon-Hanoi Secur technical analysis. How many new subs is that going to bring to the channel, I wonder? And if it does, welcome to the show. In fact, how do we do this? Let's see. Translate. Come on, why is this so hard to type? Oh, English to Vietnamese. Well, thank you for having listened to me, Google, and listened to everything I've been saying and just anticipated what I wanted. It is scary that computers are like that these days. Okay, so hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Rocky Outcrop. That's going to be well more than enough.
Xin chào và chào mừng các bạn đến với kênh tên mình là Mỏm Đá.
Xin chào và chào mừng các bạn đến vào kênh tên mình là Mỏm Đá. Right, great, excellent. Thanks so much then to Vietnam. Brilliant, you're welcome here. Rocky Outcrop, you're the best. Build up a cannon. No, you're the best. Right, excellent. Who else wants me to take a look at anything? I can see that the stream's been lasted now for 57 minutes and 40 seconds. This is... I think I do believe I have a business person, but... People can pay me directly for the course. Yes, indeed. Right, I have a business PayPal account. People can pay me directly for the course. You know, try not to confuse things too much by putting it through here during a live show, having me think it's a donation when actually it's you buying something from me, etc. You know, because then like I'll be a little bit like, oh no, obviously. But I don't care. I'm just kidding. So you know, let me know what the money's for. I'm just saying, obviously, right? Or else it'll be like, what's that? So what? Nah, but you can pay me directly for it if there's and that through thing. I sent the email out to 100 people. 100 people. Oh, I'm going to look at 3333 before we go, Raphael. Good one. I sent that email out to tons of people, and lots of people didn't actually necessarily have even. It was confusing. I've confused myself with the email that I sent out. I've got a lot of replies, a lot of work to do. Infinity Snow's asking for Riot a couple of times. I'm going to look at Riot for all of 3 seconds here because you wrote in capital letters and you said it twice. You'd asked loads of times before. Okay, I'll just have a quick look. I'll see it there, you know. So this is sideways. This is sideways 4-hour time frame. The trading within the range is recommended in this by some people, not by me. I'm not a financial advisor, so I don't know. I wouldn't know what I was talking about on that front. But other people out there might be saying something like that. Then you'd be looking and saying, well, we're below the mid area of the range. If you're being generous on the range, if you're kind of trying to be tight on it, then we're towards the lower end of it. But you can obviously assess the risk that you're taking on there. If you're thinking about this pragmatically, then obviously, you know, you're looking at trying to manage your risk by saying, well, this is obviously an area that we could easily come down to and still be operating within it. So any buys from this point are taking on that amount of risk. Then towards the top end of the channel, though, you've got a 3-to-1 risk to reward trade on. That'd obviously be a bit much. You could go for a 1.5-to-1 by aiming towards the middle end of the channel on this one if we were to actually try and, you know, catch the knife on it. But let's just look down towards the 15-minute time frame though and put the auto button and see, well, you've got the same sort of construction there as regards to the Ichimoku Cloud as the other one, where you've pushed up beyond, come back down, retest it. This is a failure point potential for us, obviously, but this is where you get your knife catch, obviously coming in at this zone. This little lagoon below the cloud is obviously where people's fingers get either bloody or a fistful of dollars, one or the other. 2878 is, or 2873 is like a target which we're moving towards, you know, in the immediacy, which is nice and everything to have that there, but that's a flash which is coming right in at the cloud. You know, we do have this kind of M structure on the go here, so this could have a harmonic basis on it. So I'll just take a look at that real quick. Going from that low to that high, roughly this B point here, this C point here, and this D point here have obviously got them fairly messy. So we'll just stretch it up a bit there down to that B416. So still, you know, it's only a 50% effort. So this 618 here is not necessarily enough. So you know, we could easily continue and get continuation towards the downside, you know, and actually come down and try this area again. So there is, you know, prudence and patience is maybe rewarding at a time when otherwise, you know, you might be getting salivating for catching knives on it during today's trading. We have come down here and tested this once, but you know, once is once enough. Quite likely not. We could be going down there for another few. I'd say that you'd be getting a risk in here on this one of saying to yourself, if you were managing your risk within the range of this move here, that you can see the inherent risk as well of like saying to yourself, anything that's which is trading along this line is very liable to cause attrition on your account, even though that there absolutely is the potential to catch a knife here at this point right now. Therefore, then if you were looking at it from the other way around and you're thinking, well, I'll just trade in the range between the, you know, between the most recent high and the most recent low, and not ask for anything more, no more porridge on my biscuit. Than that, then where is it? Okay, so cool, movements above that 28 to that 28.73. If we can sustain it in that $28 price point, then for a while, you know, like we're doing now, but actually up there, then great. You know, we're consolidating above the 236. We did do that before. We broke down back into that zone again. Makes it a trade that's worth having. You could manage your risk, but you would do it extra tight, I suppose, probably with on returns down towards this area. If we, you know, if we move up and we come back down again towards this area, I wouldn't want to be on it anywhere below it, because, you know, what's the point? That's when you're kind of getting confirmation that that's where you're on your way to. Are you not? I don't know. If we were getting a high here, a low here, and a lower high here, then you'd probably anticipate a lower low, especially given that this was a lower low falling on and this is actually a lower high. So until such times as it is what it isn't, then it is what it is, and this is a sideways market which has got a volatility at the peaks and the troughs, and you don't want to get washed out on your trading. Buying into momentum is easier, and we're away from that at the minute. So there you go in terms of that one. Riot. So there you go. So then there's 3333. If anybody wants to take a look at anything else, then you should need to get your questions and whatever else in pretty soon, because I'll be tuning out. I want to keep this episode to within the hour. It's an hour and 3 minutes now, so that means that we're already over time, and I wanted to take a look at my pal 3333. Now, I didn't check this morning. Was it at 170, 180? What have we got on this one? Did you check the price of 3333 today? No, you didn't. Are you went to your target of what, 180? Was you targeting 180 yesterday, or what? What was your, were you bearish on it yesterday? Were you bearish on it or bullish yesterday? You saying, sorry? Yeah, 172 was the low. That's cool. Yeah. People will be wondering whether or not I'm bullish or bearish on this one again. They want to know and all that sort of stuff. So I actually got into this again at 179. So there's your answer. 179, 174.9. I bought it at 174.9, 179 as well. So yeah, that's me. You know, I'm not a financial advisor on this financial advice, and I don't want to give any to anybody at all. Very reticent to do so, but I'd be looking at this and thinking that if we do get above $2, then you know I'll probably be lifting a third of my position off there just to pay myself in the here and now. If we go up towards, you know, if there's momentum and carrying it along, and I'm looking at it thinking great, if I'm able to see it at the time, then I'll be looking towards these other numbers. You know, it's hard to manage whenever I'm not there during the nights to actually do this sort of thing myself, but you know, I had the opportunity last night, and most likely I'll have the opportunity again tonight as well. Bearing in mind, by the way, tonight is Friday in China. What? So like today is Thursday for everybody here, but it's actually Friday for when the markets open up in China. So this is the last day before the weekend, and we've seen a couple of kind of, you know, the weekends haven't necessarily been that great for this recently. It would be nice if there was some decent news to come out over the next wee while. Markets chatter: S&P cuts debt plagued Evergrande ratings, warns downward spiral, shares fall 5%. This is kind of, you know, in a sense similar to the idea that you know, fundamentals of something will change, you know, to look their worst right before, of course, the speculative value is at its highest. And we can see that with S&P cutting the debt plagued Evergrande ratings. You know, it's cutting its ratings, you know, but obviously it's a little bit, you know, there's the whole horse door bolted situation with this thing cutting its ratings. You know, it's like in its all-time lows again. It's like, all right, where's your news there? Not very much on that front. So, you know, let's just take, you know, we'll put a bit of the old Himalayan salt all over this stuff. China, we'll annex some Himalayan salt for this one, won't we, guys? 43.78 billion yuan, $6.8 billion in contracted property sales in July, with 5.4 more million square meters in gross floor area sold. So like this is telling us now what it did in July. From January to July, the real estate developers contracted sales reached 400.6 billion yuan with 48.4 million square meters of blah blah blah. The stock rose almost 4% in recent trade. Thanks for your all your base are belong to us. So this all your base are belong to us news is telling us, I suppose, that this Chinese company doesn't report its earnings until 6 months after the earnings or 5 months after the earnings, etc. Now they seem a little bit positive. So it's the incredibly confused picture which is coming from from this. To me, it's got tastes of lovely stealing Americans' money from the Chinese. You know, so like hopefully we get to see some of that happen with amazing bullishness then coming into play after, you know, the most ridiculously confused news and everything recently. This is what it is until it is what it isn't, though. Just like everything else in the world, technical analysis is not blind to it. This could easily push up again, get a lower high, fail, come back down, put in a lower low, etc. Could all do all those sorts of things, but I am looking for this thing to push up the way. I'll be managing my risk on it fairly tight as well at times, always, because I don't want to get exposed to too much of the sort of the unknown depths of where things could go to. The old phrase of "it can't go lower, bro" from trading is absolutely true, you know, in the sense that it's a sarcastic phrase, and what it really means is it absolutely can go lower. So things can always go lower. They can go low. But I'm happy on this. You know, I'm looking to see this like obvious overt bullish divergence, which you've got once, twice, 3 times a lady on here. Well, actually, no, it's actually just once, twice a lady here on this one. But I'm looking for this to get some payoff, and some payoff is loads of payoff on this thing, you know, because like coming up to fill in that gap is a move of from current prices up towards filling the gap in is a move of 23%. Excellent stuff. Not too bad when you get given like 10 quid a point. Right. Excellent stuff on this one. Who wants me to do something before we go, or is it time for us to say cheerio for today to let all the new never found the channel again people to come in here and have some time without being put off by a massively long video? 1 hour and 8 minutes in. I'd like to get it done before 1 hour and 10, so let's just see. What are you saying, Corey? Rocky Outcrop, I think LRC is retesting the D point of a Gartley. Can you please check on a Doodle Den? And the Doodle Den if there's time. All right, cool. I can take a look in the Doodle Den later on, pal. No problem. That was, what was it again? You said LRCUSDT. and you're thinking that it's testing on a Gartley. So so quick sort of things obviously is that regardless of time frames and whatever else, the Gartley wouldn't fit into there on a D point because that's so huge on an X to A. So it must be from somewhere else that you're talking about. This here is the potential. This is on the logarithmic chart. I'll just make it linear just to make it easier for me to see. That's high steer than that, but you're measuring from wicks to wick. And then you've got the ability to do that. Just checking in here. A, B, C, that must be where it was. C's up there, very pushing it, in terms of this C point, by the way. But there you have it. And then again, quite extended down here at the D. So there's that from the broader perspective. That could have happened with this inflection. We're at a T1. We could come down to that again, I suppose, having already had that. Then there's the potential of you looking at it slightly differently. That's the 24-hour time frame, dropping it to 15 minutes. So this is the most likely two options that you've got on the go for you in terms of where you're looking. Where's the first peak here on this, and where's the X to A on it? Where would it be at for us? So I've just kind of lost my eyeball vision on this thing. Where would it be at? Could it be that you're looking at it in an inverse the other way around? So anyway, interesting stuff. I'll check the doodle then. That is us out of time. So thanks so much to everybody for tuning in. Going to do the reverse roll call just real quick here before we go, because it is tradition. I'll always do it, and I do love you very much. There's my man Tradespotting. Check him out later on today. Be sure to tune in for him. He's got the best technical analysis on GameStop and all that out there in the world. Bulldog Buchanan, she's a fantastic fellow human being. Good to see you here as ever. Good to see you, Justin, my friend. Good to see you, Jen. Good to see you, Susan. Good to see you, Infinity Snow. Good to see you, Taboo Tongue Arts of Labor. Hey, nice to see you, man. Good to see you, Alejandro, and good to see you, Sal, Natural Friend, Corey, Raphael, Dynamic Mechanic, and Darren Fong, Banana Fridge. Who else do we have in here? Cynthia, Tubes, good to see you, my matey. Sir Pushkin, hey, some Pushkin. What were you saying to Sal earlier on? Sal, some shite coin that people try to PND. Excellent, good conversations going on in the chat as ever. Christy, always appreciated, my friend. You need to confirm which type of payments are cancelled. Yes, it was all the people, by the way, all the people who didn't pay with PayPal. If they're like, oh, it seems I paid with PayPal, I paid by, well, you're fine. It's the ones who paid direct with credit, debit card, and it didn't go through PayPal in any way. If you paid with your debit or credit card through PayPal, you'll probably be fine. It's the ones that paid through Stripe. And yes, I will be able to arrange payments just to go through me. So if you are aware of it and you don't want to be made aware of it through the sort of the removal from the course, then that's perfect. Let's arrange it privately and instead, and we can just do that, no problem. So if you're up for that, that'd be good. We'll do that over the period of the weekend, and then we'll do the sort of like the black and white way on from Monday or into next week, maybe whenever. We'll figure it out where we kind of remove people from the course so it becomes very obvious to them how to pay. If you're still enrolled in the course, which is everyone, then there isn't an option through Thinkific so obviously to pay, and that's been an issue for people and who've been wanting to repay. And those volunteers that are stepping up and saying, I want to repay now, let's just get this sorted, I'll try and maybe arrange that through privately, and the links essentially for that are down below in the description here. Also as well, cryptocurrency is an option if you want to use that to pay as well. That's always appreciated. And I guess as well, cryptocurrency, even if you want to pay with dollars in cryptocurrency, that's also totally great. So if you've got USDT kicking about there and you want to pay like a $1 Tron transfer fee and whatever else and all that, and do it that way, absolutely massively up for that. And I'm sure people out there in the audience would be up for that as well. I can see the rockets for Rocky popping up here in the chat, and that's massively appreciated. I love yous also very, 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 very much. And I want to just bring up the old alerts doodah here so you can get to see that. If I could stretch it out, it's taking me so long to do it. Okay, right, that was harder than I wanted it to be. So you can see that. Imagine the frustration, eh? Can you imagine that frustration? Whoa, God. Whoa. Right, Bulldog, thanks so much. Ghost of Dan, thanks so much. Between yous two, yous were the tippers on the channel. That's really appreciated. All the best to everybody else. Thank you so much for being here on the show. And I really do appreciate it. I love yous being here every single day. No, they were the ones that did. Well, actually, that's weird, isn't it? That's weird. I don't know why the super chats are not showing up. Oh, there was just because I hadn't scrolled up. That's it. Koki and Ryan, Rotten Corpse. Rotten Corpse. Yeah, thanks, man. That's great. Rotten Corpse, odorous colon, man. There's no time for that. Spy, here's Spy. Spy today has been doing quite well, actually, overall. That's good to see. Like, where's the thingy here? You can see it in terms of the high-low range and stuff like that on my screen. Can you not? Can you? Should be up there. No? Oh, I've got the wrong thing open. That's why. There it is. The high-low days range, whatever. We've got it there. Oh, actually, no, we're down 0.5%. Oh, that's because this is the start of the day. Oh, I've got the wrong chart open. There we go. Well, what use am I, eh? You're asking me to do spy, and I can't even tell my eyeballs from my other balls, eh? So yeah, pushing down so far today. Yeah, this has got a this has a wedge type look to it, you know, an aspect to it which could be there, but actually it's probably going to go up and become a failed just a channel. I'm not seeing anything particularly jumping out at me right now. It's just to say, you know, this is great. This slight push down into the bearish control zone is not ideal. It makes it so it's not actually bullishly divergent in this moment in time. Instead, what I'm looking to in terms of like trading right now is maybe perhaps rather maybe look at, actually tell you what, guys, gonna just have to take this one into the Discord, everybody. Chat with each other, and hopefully the members of the community can come back and give you a bit more chat on this one. Odorous colon. I do think that we'll get a retest of this, at least at the 27-24, fill in that gap that we created today, and what that'll probably be at the time, if we're looking at on a time frame like this, would be a test at least inside the top end of the Ichimoku Cloud. That would be my basis for this one. But while until we're actually putting in highs again, then it is what it is until it is what it isn't. Right now, you know, we had the very kind of volatile upward move, as you can see there recently. That was very, very, you know, interesting and great and everything. This is a downward move just now. It's not been super volatile. Movements back up there could be, and I'd just look to see if we go into market conditions like this and be somewhat prudent about it if there is that type of feeling in the market. So this inflection point for me is quite a big deal, really, coming in here at the mid area of the SPY. So, you know, $28 is a big deal. What the fuck is this? VIX of the VIX. But, you know, this is that would be an increase in volatility. That would be yeah. So, oh wait, no, I completely forgot what I was talking about there. The TA on this is right, you know, but the implications from it are wrong, because I forgot I was talking about VIX as opposed to SPY. So this movement that we're seeing here, if we go back up and retest, oh shit, what, man, why am I so confused right now? Hide the drawings, get the thingy, take the chart. This is where we are. This is today's price action. It's an hour into markets. That's the hourly chart. That makes sense. Now I've refound my brain again. Thanks so much for your patience. Yeah, so retest down the way here. That VIX volatility would, if we come down to here, that's fairly extensive. This is filling in that gap. The VIX volatility chat's there. That would be my overall impression on SPY. Okay, right now, I'm sorry that I had to do that so arse about face, but that's how arse about face sometimes these things go. Okay, I'm left with that feeling after having looked at that. I am aware that this is you know, somewhat positive in this area. Could potentially be a half mast flag. Yeah, you get the point. It could potentially be a half-mast flag in there, but I actually really quite dislike those types of patterns. That's from the Bulkowski point of view rather than the peer. Looking down here towards this area as a potential for that gap fill really is kind of just, you know, the risk on here. Yes, continuation is the name of the game, but it's at this point here where it's really nice for a catching a knife. Sure, you can, but, you know, the chances of you giving up a couple of percent there in terms of that move just by saying, well, hey, it was a gamble, then that's there. But if you want to gamble on that, that's totally fine. You can. Let's actually just, oh god, I've been dragged on. I didn't mean to do this. I'm not complaining at you, but next time I'll be serious, right? If I get to the end of the show and I'm saying I'm tuning out now, even if people donate, I'm not going to do them, okay? Because this is really, it's, you know, I'm not going to. Pardon? Yeah, yeah, great. So that's so just so people know. Anyway, and instead, what I'll do is I'll have these neater things because I've got the course there, which is a really massive opportunity for people, and to really to level up their trading and stuff like that. It's a massive opportunity for people. So I want to be able to, you know, get that in front of people's eyes and stuff like that, and do that in a way that it's not, you know, it's less pastoral care and piecemeal action here with people and those who choose to tune in and try and attract some new eyeballs to the show, because we'd like that, of course. This is Apple. It's looking decent, but of course there's the potential here for us to be at the top end of this thing, come back down, have a retest here, and that would be, of course, this accounts for, you know, a significant percentage of the SPY in and of itself. So, well, there you go. I mean, that's this is such a huge company, and when this happens, then the SPY obviously follows, you know, in that sense. Right, great, excellent stuff. So let me just bring up the chitter chatter then and do that last little sort of reversal call again, since we've now kind of done the show again at the end, right? So where's the other thing here for me? My alerts activity feed. Pop that over here. You're welcome, Odoricola. You're welcome, by the way. It's not. Sorry, so Komodos, I'm not going to. Right, sorry, man. Loving the course so far. Do you mind taking a look at MTTR? Thanks. Yeah. Not going to. Sorry, man. Koki 4.99 super chat is what it is until it is what it isn't. Thanks so much, Koki. Thanks so much, Rotten Corpse. Thanks so much, Rotten Corpse twice. Bulldog, love you. Ghosted Dan, love you too. All you people in chat, Bad Mama Jama, and the rest of you, I love you so much as well. Be sure to tune in earlier on the show tomorrow and ask me for Mitter before I kind of piss off. So, right, you know, because that's what I'm doing just now. Much love to you all. Oh, hello, Apple Blossom. I see you've got your hello in there. Get you in there. Jonathan Cooper, Koki as well, into the reverse roll call chat as well. Great. Thanks so much. Love you so very much. I'm so very much tuning out this time. By the way, do share this video with your friends. If you find any bits in here that are good for making clips and you want to share them with people and bring new people to the show, then, you know, it's really massively appreciated. Always from everybody, forever. Much love. Okay, catch you next time. My name's Rocky Outcrop. We'll be Rocky Outcrop when I come back again tomorrow. Be fun to see how China Evergrande finishes off its weekend, won't it? Let me know what you think about how it'll go in the comments down below. Things are what they are until they aren't. What do you think it'll be? Let me know. Are you catching knives as well? I'm super interested in Evergrande. I think it's going to be one of the best plays of 2022. In terms of the way that we all knew about the dangers of CV19 back in 2019, is actually true that it wasn't until into 2020 and that we actually experienced it. Well, maybe Evergrande is going to be that same sort of feeling, you know. We'll see how it goes. Right, much love. Loving the rockets for Rocky, by the way. You are the best people in the world, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Ooh la la. Ooh la la. If anybody wants to send anything over to Unreasonable Land, I'm going to pop the link in the description after I hit the stop button on this video. You can find it in the Discord and find it by sending me a direct message on Twitter and everything else as well. Ooh la la. Peace, people. Happy Christmas. Ooh la la.